All right, great stuff. Peter Ducey, thank you. As always, please be safe. We appreciate it. So let's chew on all this. Joining us now, Laura Trump, host of My View with Laura Trump on Fox News, and Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker of the House and longtime friend. Well, I just say at the top, Laura, Trump right now is he was on a roll. The roll was temporarily kind of interrupted by some shock and awe with the tariffs. Right now, it seems to me he is back on that roll with more. I mean, the economy is going his way, the tax bill is going his way. And this, I believe, a commanding presence in the Middle East. He's doing things that nobody expected him to do or no one has done before, while the Democrats here at home taking the brilliant political course of defending MS-13 gangsters and criminals and killers and terrorists. So what do you make of that?
What a time to be alive,
Not
right?
to put it too bluntly.
Yeah, no, this is incredible. And I think for those of us who had high expectations for President Trump, myself included, he's exceeded all of those already. I think the first 100 days were brilliant. You're right, people gave him a hard time about the tariffs. They're already paying off. We're already seeing people come to the table like the UK, China. This is going to be a great thing for America and the rest of the world. What he's doing in the Middle East right now and the way he has conducted everything is absolutely brilliant. He is making sure that America is in charge of the world, that we are the superpower and the leader of the free world. But he's also changing things in the Middle East in a way that we've never seen happen before. He's saying, you guys have this opportunity. We don't want to come in and nation build. We want to give you this opportunity. We want to reset relations. We want to do things that are going to be great for this region, great for the world. And I'll tell you what, only President Trump could do it. Just the past 5 days, you know, looking at the things he's accomplished from Pakistan and India, from a potential meeting, as you and Peter were just talking about there, with Russia and Ukraine, all the things going on in the Middle East, bringing a hostage home, it's all incredible. And I believe he's the only person, honestly, who could do it.
You know, Kevin, I'm going to guess behind the scenes, he's having some pretty good, intense conversations with MBS and the Saudis about the Abraham Accords. He made his public plea. He put himself on the line in that public plea. It was a very eloquent speech, I think. But I also think his decision to lift the sanctions from Syria and go see the president is something that would please the Saudis a good deal and almost like a good faith effort. I mean, what the heck? The Syria is the Syria. And if it doesn't work out, we'll take them out. We did it once. Trump did it once, and he can do it again. So they're not a threat to anybody. But it's like it's a good faith, and I think he's going to succeed. He's going to get a couple $1 trillion of investment. Yes, yes, yes. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think these political moves by Trump are very clever.
Yeah, there's so much more to this trip than people are just saying.
Yeah.
The investment, yes, but you compare that to 3 years ago with Biden, where the crown prince doesn't even meet. America looks weak, like they came there begging. Now we come with great strength. But what people aren't seeing as well is this actually keeps the price of oil down, which means inflation is lower in America. But more importantly, Ukraine and Russia, Putin's whole economy is based on the price of oil. So it puts greater pressure on him to get there. And it's Trump at his greatest, that he pivots and does the Syria move. Why continue the same pace, right? They've got a new leader in. Try to have that olive branch reach out, and it's smart because he's doing it from strength. Because if he didn't do it, who would fill that void? Iran. And remember what happened after Biden? China came in and put Iran and Saudi Arabia together. So now he's actually taking care of the Houthis, and now he's telling Iran, you're not going to get a nuclear weapon. I think we will study in time that this is one of the best foreign policy trips that we have watched in a long time.
Laura, he laid the law down with Iran. I mean, he's saying, okay, we'd love to do business with you, and we'd love to do commercial business with you, but if you don't, and you continue to build your nuclear weapons, which is what all the reports are, we will take you out. That's
Absolutely.
The way I read it.
Yeah, no,
buts, ands, semicolons, nothing.
No questions.
Very clear.
No questions with President Trump. And I think that's the difference, too. You know, to piggyback off of what the speaker was saying, there is such a difference now. Whenever you look at this trip versus Biden's trip, it is strength on the world stage versus weakness. No one is even questioning whether or not Donald Trump means what he says. They know he means what he says. But then he also goes back to talk about the fact that when he was in during his first term, Iran didn't have the ability to continue developing a nuclear weapon. They didn't have the ability to fund all of these proxies across the region and cause all of this chaos because they didn't have the money. Biden lifted the sanctions. He gave them the ability to start, getting all this money back and selling their oil. And it's put the entire world in a really bad place. But yes, I think they know when President Trump says Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, he means they will never have a nuclear weapon.
He'll take him out if he has to. Israelis would love to do it also, as you know. You know, Kevin, on the oil thing, I've said for a couple of years now, China is financing Iran and Russia, two of America's enemies, by buying oil.
Exactly.
Now, if the price of oil comes down more, it has come down a fair piece. It's in the low 60s now, right?
Yeah.
Saudis turn the spigots just a little more, right? Saudis and the others in the Gulf states, just a little more. You're in the 50s. That is going to kill Russia, absolutely kill them, bring them to their knees. By the way, it will also hurt Iran, no matter how cheap and how much they sell to China. But we put secondary, one more point. As you know, Trump put secondary sanctions on purchases of Iranian oil, which is to say to China, if you buy any more Iranian oil, you will do no business with the United States. That's even worse than a 145% tariff.
That's true, because when President Trump left the last time, Iran was only producing 400,000 barrels a day. Under Biden, they produced 3 million. What happened? They had a lot of extra money to fund the proxies that brought us October 7th and everywhere else. So what Trump is doing here, gets Saudi Arabia to embrace the Abraham Accords. Also, he told Iran not to build the nuclear weapon, when he's in the Middle East with his friends there. He's also building greater relationships. So if Putin does not show up to this meeting for peace, he can turn that on them as well. Put some new sanctions on Russian oil while everybody else agrees here. That will break their economy. Maybe we need to produce a little more while we say, Russia, you can't buy their oil.
One more before I lose you. It looks good for the tax cuts. It doesn't look perfect, but it looks very good.
Jason Smith has done an amazing job. He gets credit. He really does. Because he said from the very beginning, big, beautiful bill. It's not easy carrying everything through.
Actually, I said from the beginning, big, beautiful bill.
Okay, then he was on your show and he stole it from you.
I like that.
No. I did it because I talked to the boss about one, and he said to me, this is in December, he said to me, I want one big, beautiful bill. And he told me a few House members and Senate members to call, but he hadn't said it publicly. So for the next month, what I would say is, I happen to know senior advisors to President Trump who thinks he wants one big, beautiful bill. That's how we did that, all right? That's how we
And we have Larry to thank for that.
That's how we are.
You should ask Jason how the bill got named, too. Because he called it all that, and then Jason comes into the White House, the Oval, says, okay, I thought of some names, like Rebuilding America.
Nope, we've
and Trump
already got
goes,
it.
I like big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, no, this is true. Others told me that. Anyway, hats off to Jason, who's going to be on in just a few moments. How about the Senate side? What's your quick assessment?
Look, at the end of the day, this bill gets done. Will it look different? Yes, because it can't let the taxes go up. Could it get a little messy like every bill? Yes. But having tight majorities, everybody wants to have their say. Look, the rates aren't going to go up, no tax on tips. I think you're going to see the economy take off. And more importantly, the complement of cutting all these regulations, which you were so key at doing in the last administration, that combination in synergy and getting these trade deals done. I mean, Laura, what you talked about in the last week, he also did a trade deal with the UK. He got a temporary one with China. I mean, it's unbelievable in 1 week time span. People would think this would be 4 years.
India's coming, and I think South Korea is coming right after that.
And Japan.
And hopefully Japan, although they're very, very difficult. Laura, another 30 seconds. Are the Democrats right now, the Democratic Party, the stupidest people you could ever imagine? I mean, come on, seriously. They are defending gangsters, criminals, and terrorists who are killing people, and they don't want them deported. And this is you heard what the minority speaker Jeffries was talking about.
He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
What is he?
Listen, I say that 2024 was the end of the Democrat Party as we've always known it. They're done. They're finished. They are digging their grave. Donald Trump, I mean, he sold them a shovel and he gave it to them at a very high price.
You like that metaphor?
I like it.
They're digging their own grave and he's selling the shovel.
Yep.
Wait a minute, did the president give you that one too?
No, actually, we huddled on it in the elevator ride down here. That's how we kind of do things, but don't tell anybody. Kevin McCarthy, Laura Trump, lovely to see you.